Hello. Hello there. I have just noticed that Chrono Cross the Radical Dreamers edition is now on Steam today. So, I guess that's something. Isn't it? Hello, Shadow, and Fox, and Vcassins. You don't have my Jaffa Cakes? Well... me neither. Now, I'm not going to replay through Chrono Cross, because it's just a direct port with HD remodels of the characters. And I played it maybe 6 months ago again. For the second or third time, I can't remember. But Radical Dreamers is on there, and I do need to play Radical Dreamers. So at some point, I'll figure out a time to play that. But until then, I also almost definitely won't stream it. That probably won't be very fun. Just me reading a book. But how long is Radical Dreamers? Like 3 hours? No. Chrono Trigger you tried to play? The part of the time you were just getting coins and not actually playing it. Coins? What do you mean coins? Also seems affordable? Yes, that's what I was about to say as well. You think no coins for the sex or the fact the points? Yes. I have spent way too much time just farming points at the Millennial Fair and Chrono Trigger. I massively prefer Chrono Cross though. Chrono Trigger is very charming, but I don't really think that it holds up that well, personally. Chrono Cross, it does. Hello, Gav. There's just... like, Chrono Trigger is exceptional in what it was doing at the time, but its story doesn't really hit anymore for me. But Chrono Cross fucking hits every time I play it. And that soundtrack, so fucking good. Did I pick a new game yet? I'm pretty sure I've just settled on trying on strategy. But yes, it seems affordable. It's like 15 quid, which is... that's exactly the price that it should be, I think. It's the price that the new games should be as well, that they're releasing, that the Voice of Dragon, Voice of Cards, and Dungeon encounters, instead of twice the cost, you going at 7? Okay. Shadow, I need you to tell me where I'm going, by the way. What I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing here today. What I do know is that I've spent all day reading. Not all day. Most of the day. I read a bunch from... want to round up the final quests. Okay. I read the interview in Grimoire NieR. It was so useful. There was like nothing necessarily new. There were a few things that were new. But it just kind of consolidated every theory, and it just explained it. It's playthrough F, it is. It just explained it cohesively in a way that was like, okay, that puts all of the pieces together in the places that makes the most sense and adds a few things to the missing pieces. And now NieR Replicant makes 100% sense. I have so much more respect for it as well. All of the things that Yoko Taro was saying, he was like, I don't want romance in it because that's not what the story of the game is. I don't want to... all of the things in this game are that aren't to do with just NieR going to Yona are not the focus of the game. There is not that much lore in the game, it's all outside of it, because I don't want to distract you from the game. It's a generally pretty simple plot. If you ignore all of the external things, the retreat to read, oh, it's so good. And the fact that the way, because the three main characters are very, what's the word? Progressive. For Japan in 2010. Especially. But no attention is drawn to it, they're just there in the world, and it's not in the, oh, it was just added as an afterthought. Oh, they just didn't give enough time to it, they're just cashing on it. Because you have to pay attention. They're so subtly written that it's obvious that that's who they are, but it's not a part of the story in any way whatsoever. Like, it's so clear that Emil is gay in that game. Because of just these little things that he says. But no attention is drawn to it. It's just him. There's no shock, there's no nothing. It's Emil. That's just a sexual preference. There's nothing special about it. It's just normal. And it's so well written. It's exceptional. That game, it's solidified it as one of my favorite games. He's got a pretty aggressive head on his shoulders. He really does. And it shows so much more in those interviews. So I was like, I massively prefer this to NieR Automata, I finally decided. There's so much about it that's just, it's so many layers deep. I love it. So is Automata, but in different ways. And then I started reading the Automata short stories. Also just a goofer, you never really know it, true. So I read the character entries in the World Guide, which it was nothing too insightful. Then there was Memory Cage, all about 2B and 9S being put on a mission together to go to the Baron Temple in Facade. And then she kills him. Because she's 2E. And then there was Orbital Bunker Observation Diary, which I guess it was the observers, the little girls, right? Who were hiding around in the bunker, watching 9S and watching all of these things happening. And it was more about the operators as well, and their relationship with 2B and 9S, and their side of things, which is very interesting. And then there was Memory Thorn, which is the same as Memory Cage, but shows that 2B kills him over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's just constant, and how the guilt is affecting her from 9S's perspective on one of those attempts. And also, they don't go to the Baron Temple that time. They go to the Stone Temple, which is the big cylinder with the spiral staircase. I really love the way that they describe the replicant settings with the Automata characters, because you can just... The amount of times that I played through Replicant, it's just so vivid imagery of those zones because of how often you go back to those zones. That it's... Oh, it's so good. I didn't read any more, because I didn't have time. But, what else? Oh, in the Grimoire NieR, when they're explaining the E ending, but it didn't exist yet. It was a short story. It was a short story that explained E ending in Grimoire NieR, because E didn't exist. And then in the interview, they're like, what happens after D? And they were like, well, E, this short story, but if it was to be in the game, it would be like this. And they just describe E ending. And it's so cool that they got to make it. Because it's But it also means shadow. Back in the planet if they'd given another chance. Yes. But that means that fuck you, because you said that E existed after Automata was made, therefore don't use it to jump to any conclusions, but it fucking didn't. You're an asshole. Hello, Andreas. E did exist. What chapter am I going to? Hello, Pigeon. Pigeon. Chrono Cross released today. How does that make you feel? I don't think I know your opinions on Chrono Cross. I can pick a character that I want. Don't have time for anything. That's a shame. 7 or later. 13? Which one was 7? So I like being 9S. It's where I'm going now. I also don't have time for anything. Need to be able to roam, obviously. Yeah, okay. This is the most roamy that I can be in. The entire map is open. I think.
What is that?
An enormous facility that appeared
What
from
is
an
that?
area beneath the ground. It would appear to be machine-related in origin. Further details unknown. Mobile transport platform detected in the section emerging from the facility's center.
Well, in
So,
the character
elevator?
descriptions in the world guide, which I guess is Automata's version of NieR. Emil's description in it from the perspective of Automata and not from the perspective of anyone from Replicant is really interesting. That was the coolest thing I got from that. Don't have time for anything. Twitch streamer. Listen, I stream for 3 hours a fucking week, Andreas. Because I don't have time to stream more. So fuck you. I'm still playing through Disco Elysium off stream though. Nearing the end though, I believe. My oh my. 3 hours of time that I have. Shut the fuck up, Andreas. It's not. It's 3 hours of time that I don't have because I'm streaming. Book releases of the story on Automata and there's some differences. Okay. I'm just running around in circles. Unit data, did I need 95? Oh. He was reduced to tears by the realization that only powers matter in this world. Not too bad in terms of altering stuff, more wording, emotion, etc. Okay. Why didn't you? Okay. Where am I going? And what am I doing? No, no, no. Don't hack him. Look at Smiley Boy. Bit of a quest marker on a shopping center? That I do. Oh, I have these. Did I have... Oh, wait, no. Wait, what is this? Why do I have this now? Because I fought a meal? Yes, okay. Also make a separate save just in case. On it. Okay. I was listening to the NieR Replicant soundtrack whilst reading things, and I realized how much more, like, this is a beautiful soundtrack in this game, but I realized how much more I love the Replicant soundtrack.
Proposal. Investigate tower that appeared from the
Or
cave
warning about the
region.
only missable thing
Let's
in this
check it
game.
out.
How many balls on you? That's true. Hello. Oh, hey. There was a countdown in this quest.
Wow, you've sure gotten strong. I doubt you'll be needing my help anymore.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Take care now.
Let it run out, okay.
Emil sure is acting kinda weird. Pod.
Pursuit marker placed on map. Target is heading toward the desert.
Nice work. Let's go find him.
Emil's determination. So I don't have a timer yet, but I will get a timer at some point, and when I do, I need to let it run out.
Proposal. Investigate tower that appeared from the caved-in region.
Shut up,
Let's
Pod.
check it out.
You 153 or are you 42? I always forget which one is which. I think you're 42. Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. Did you send any of that stuff to Patrick, by the way, Shadow? Because if he shows up today, I would very much like to hear his thoughts and such things. Sorry, Moose. Alpexi here. Received exactly the same as me. Good, good, good. Okay, I'm sorry. You are a god tier moose.
Thanks, friendo!
What?
Hey there!
Proposal.
Have I not used
Investigate
these yet?
tower that appeared from the
I guess I
caved-in
only got them at the
region.
end of last
Let's
stream.
check it out.
Okay, and save. Where is it saving to now, though? It doesn't matter, because I saved both of them at the same time. I am indeed strong now, but so the moose. The beast. They seem to scale at the same rate as I do. Which is strange that it's only moose and boars that do that, but I kind of like it. Emil is the best. Where is he? Over here. Probably should have just teleported, but I didn't. So now I'm over here. You didn't get this weapon when you played the game? It's wonderful. and I love it. I played through the game properly, normally, wearing normal clothes. And then we're doing extra bullshit. So now I have Grimoire Vice. And I have young NieR's clothing. And I have Emil head. And I have Emil heads. Because we're just playing Replicant now. And I enjoy it. We fought God himself. So there is no more canon. In fact, we fought 2 gods. Emil doesn't complain about the sand enough in this. We didn't win. Well, how can you win against God? Especially when there's 2 of them. Oh, he's over by the big Emil heads, right? He's definitely over by the big Emil heads. Yep. I can't believe how long it took me to find these things.
Are these
Hey, buddy.
Emil?
Yeah. Hello.
Emil!
Watch out. They're still alive.
What is that?
Oh.
What's happening?
Alert. Magical weapons from the old world detected. Magical elements have a high probability of penetrating all defense systems. Proposal. Evade.
I know that!
Okay. Now we're getting the replicant themes. Nice. This one doesn't have an 8-bit version. It like kinda does, but kinda doesn't at the same time, which is a bit... I guess because it's mostly the lyrics coming through. This is not my usual route here. Yeah, and I fucked it up because of that.
Alert. Elemental output of magical weapons has increased.
I don't know why I switched targets instead of staying to the same one and just destroying one head. I think... I do know why. Because I thought that I hacked one and it completely blew up, and then the next one that I hacked didn't, so I assumed that that was like the boss head, and I wanted to get rid of some more minion heads. But it seems that that isn't what happened.
How much more of this I can take?
There was a call there. I think that I accidentally just skipped the call. Hopefully it just resets that one. Sometimes it resets them.
Years of multiplying. Years of fighting and wars. Their sense of self just deteriorated. I need to settle things with them on my own.
Stop it! You have to stand down!
Stop rolling. Ow. Ow. I don't have any... I do not have the right equipment. Okay, so after retract, I'm just gonna sit and wait for a bit. Or any text, any dialogue that may occur. Nope. Fuck. Okay. Come on, it's time for you to die, big buddy. I decided to ruin Lannis's character by giving him an actual likable face. Patrick, hello. How much did you read? Is my question to you right now. Whilst we're doing absolutely ridiculous shit. He's not dying, is he? Okay, let's just... You know, we're all wondering where you were last time. You were watching a new Batman. Well, not much happened anyway. It was just all... We were fighting God. Not him. But was it good? Did you enjoy it? Okay, I didn't want to hack that one. Hence the reason why I wasn't facing it. So now, will you allow me to thank you? Fuck. Oi. Oi. Okay, we're fine. We're not fine. Did not have time for you to do your homework. Did roughly catch last week's stream. That's fine. I only started my homework today. Highly recommend reading the interview in Grimoire NieR. Very much highly recommend it. Not necessarily right now, but just at some point. It explains a lot of shit and just puts in plain and simple words what is happening in NieR Replicant. It just explains it all, just up front, all straight. Love this game so much. Why can't you always remember and play the game blind? That's... I feel the same way about Replicant, but not the same way about this. That makes sense. Is that what they were? That's not what it's not that. Fuck. This one has its reveals, but not really. It doesn't change much about anything. I think whereas if you play through NieR Replicant with knowledge of even just the route, the entire game changes, and you can never go back. Right? That's a moment in NieR Replicant that's like, I can never go back and play this. I know. Shut up, Shadow. I know that there's 2E, but that doesn't... And it changes some things, and the dynamic between her and 9S. And the knowledge of the humans being dead doesn't really change anything, really. It's just... Because that's what we all thought from the start anyway, and it's just... yes, we have that information now, but it doesn't really change anything. And you have a video to show me about this game from a psychological perspective. Shadow also has a 45-minute analysis video for me to watch after this. Maybe we'll watch it on stream at some point if we have time. I don't know if this is going to be the final stream of the game. Who the fuck knows? I do love this game. But I like this game a lot. I don't think I love it. But I love Replicant. So you'll have to catch Ross. Barcelona game begins in an hour. It's like a 45-minute video, so I don't know if it would be today. Because, well, maybe it is. Who knows? But either way, at some point do link me that video after we're done with the game, I think. Because I would like to watch it. La la la. La la la.
We try our best. In the rain, in the wind, in the storm. Even when our companions die, we kept fighting. But the eternal war, our eternal pain. The eternal pain. It's freedom.
Yeah.
It told us there was nothing of value to protect this world. The world had no meaning. It's freedom!
Not now.
Stop! You! All of you! This pain! This sadness! This desperation! You know nothing about it!
But even so, all of this is wrong. No matter how hard or how painful, they never gave up. They kept fighting because they believed they could overcome someday. Isn't that right, Kaine? Even if it's pointless, you still have to do it. Because this is the world my friend tried to save!
Oh, you need me to let it. The Emils caused their fusion reactors to go out of control, turning the planet into a dead chunk of rock, tumbling through vast vacuum of an uncaring universe. That's the only way to get ending Y. And if you do the quest, you can never get it. Okay. Yep, yeah. Annoying, but thank you for warning me. Yep. The what was I gonna say? The fact that you can get the achievement by buying it, but never the ending. Okay. I get the achievement. I didn't get an achievement. Oh, but the all endings, maybe? Let's travel. The fact that There's one for all of them, yeah. That, replicant every ending is a bad ending. I hadn't really thought of the after effects of killing Poplar and Deviler. It never really hit me about what actually that means for the world. Or just that area in particular, I think. And there is no ending that you can do where you don't kill those two. Commonality in Yokai games, yeah. Well, most of these endings are you dying, so...
Are these... Emil? Emil!
There's...
What is that?
Hello.
What's happening?
So now I have to kill it on time.
Magical weapons from the old world detected. Magical elements have a high probability of penetrating all defense systems. Proposal: evade.
I still didn't equip my good shit.
Where?
Okay. What's happening to Emil? This isn't Emil, this is his weapons. Right, but he's just kind of over it all, it seems. He's finally breaking, because we were his only friend. And then he thought that he was getting a friend back when he met us, I think, and then we betrayed his trust and we stole from him, and now he is broken. Sometimes be a bit of a bitch, so you have to cut and look for the real head. Okay.
Alert. Elemental output of magical weapons has increased.
I don't know how much more of this I can take.
This one's dead. This one's dead.
Soldier, what happened to my clones? Years of multiplying. Years of fighting in wars. Their sense of self just deteriorated. I need to settle things with them. On my own!
Stop it! You have to stand down!
Ow. Oh, I'm also dead now. I don't know which one is the real head, though. They all look the same, do they not? Hello, Marble. Ow, fucker. Ow. Owie. Is that now, yeah? Yeah. Hello. What a lovely smile you have in there. That was close. that one. Why would I... What? Thank you. Blind. Indeed. But right now, we're picking up most of the ending. But still, mention that. Thank you. And welcome in. Hey, soul. Okay, now... Sorry for interrupting your lovely singing, Emil, but I've heard it before. And now we got a blast. Hello, FF-chan. Ow.
We tried our best. In the rain, in the wind, in the storm.
Okay, we've got a blast. Because once he's done with all this talking, I believe, that's when the countdown begins. And since we now have Y, keep on the shielded one.
Even when our companions die, we kept fighting.
Okay. Are they not all shielded when they die? I thought they all shielded when they die. Ow. I said balls. He won't be. You have no clue what's going on, but you're already sad? Yeah, that sounds about right. That's just NieR. It's a replicant, it's Automata, it's just probably Dragon Guard, but Dragon Guard as well. See, that one has a shield as well. They all have shields. See, now he has a shield. And here's the final one. Damn, I just walked into that one, and that. When the speech ends, 1-1? Okay. They're all dead now? This one. But wait.
You know nothing about it!
But even so, all of this is wrong.
This one?
No
This
matter
one.
how hard
It has
or
health
how
still.
painful, they never gave up. They kept fighting because they believed they could overcome someday. Isn't that right, Kaine? Even if it's pointless, you still have to do it. Because this is the world my friend tried to save.
I fucked it. No, I didn't. There we go.
I think this is it for me. I can't believe I remembered something so important. Right at the end.
Emil.
I was running from the memories of losing those close to me. It was so hard. So painful. At the end, I did a lot of bad things to you, 9S. But now I get to see them again. Really soon.
Hold on, Emil. We'll repair you and get you back to normal.
Oh. Hey. There you are. I'm so glad. I got to see you all again.
Emil.
No. He's not immortal anymore. Like... He... Yeah. Well, he should be. But he doesn't seem to be. Like, nothing that he's ever done has killed him. And he's fucking nuked himself. Using the soul originally on the list to let that kicking. Okay, good. That makes more sense, because it lost the will to live. The will? Maybe. But... yeah. But if that's not original Neil, then that makes sense. Doesn't it? That's why there's so many. There was 2 enemies. Three of them even. See you, Gav. Okay. What now, Shadow? Bye. Step aside, please. Coming through. Does that also mean that he just won't be here anymore? And I no longer have him as a vendor. Not that I need him as one, I've got everything. See if I have 95%. I shouldn't, I have 94%. Fucking hell. Ew. These colossal meals were sad, with a sad final state of Emil's copies. Attacking without warning, they possess the ability to unleash fierce attacks using magical weapons from the old world. At the end of this pitched battle, the true Emil stopped his doppelgangers with heartfelt words before annihilating them with the final strike. He then passed away with an expression of great relief, as if he had finally met the person he'd longed to see. Yeah, I'm missing a percent. Am I gonna have to quickly look through and see a unit that I can go and kill? That is one unit, yeah. Is there anything that we can do where there is a special unit? Or are we gonna have to do some studying? Did I kill the annoying singing robot that drives around? Shut the fuck up, Araton. First of all, he's not a robot. He's an immortal weapon. Second of all, yes, I did kill him. Actually, no, he killed himself. Thank you very much. I just killed his will to live. Third of all, thank you for the resub. Okay. So, I am just going to... Unit data... Yeah, Automata... Enemies. Wait, no. I want complete unit data list. Spoilers. Right. Small stubby. Gun equipped, shield equipped. Electromagnetic, I know that I have. Multi-tier type, short and gun equipped. Yep. Full short gun equipped. Yep. Small biped and torch equipped. Medium. Shield, electromagnetic shield. All fours. Upright. Long range. Close range. Goliath biped. Enhanced. Yep. 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 Small wait, medium flyer has the kamikaze unit. Yes. And the gunner 2, kamikaze 2. Yeah. Small exploder, medium exploder, small sphere axe equipped, drill equipped, gun equipped. Oops. Linked sphere type, drill equipped, saw equipped, thorn equipped, gun equipped, rampaging small stubby, biped, medium biped. Okay, I've got all of those ones. Desert machines. Sorry about this. Will be done soon. Small and saw equipped. Small with sword. Medium with sword. And shield and electromagnetic shield. Goliath. Small flyer. Medium flyer. Oh, I don't have the kamikaze. I just had the gunner and kamikaze. Okay. Okay. So, just a regular one. Head to the desert field access point. Then just run left. Wait, what the fuck? Okay. Yeah, so I need 95% of unit data mobile. I have 94%. So each enemy in my journal, each enemy that I kill gets added to my journal. Each enemy has different weapon variants as well, so I probably have one of every single enemy, but I don't have all of their weapon variants. So I was just looking through a full list of all of them by category. Hello, Dave. How are you doing? I only briefly saw the Tsuro Collector's Edition, but from the brief look, it is beautiful. So, I got here. Stunning. It is indeed. Tsuro already. Beautiful game. Also, at some point, please, can we play Nemesis? We read the rules for it. We learned the game. We just forgot the part where we played the game. Okay, unit data unlocked. Please. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. Nice and easy. How did I not already have that? I think the first time I looked through, I didn't realize that weapons were separate. There's a new one out too? New Nemesis? Or expansion or whatever? Or a new game by the people? Standalone sequel game. Nice. Recon Squad, Royal Chambers. Okay. Is it still Alien ripoff? But a different kind of game? Or is it... Recently started playing the Robin Hood board game. Is that the legacy one? The big one where you open up little flaps and you can only move in the shadows? And you have those weird long tiles that you move around? That Robin Hood game? Yep. It looks so pretty, and it looks like a game that I definitely would want to play. Maybe with a younger audience, though. Because it seems like an amazing... If you want to get your kids into board games, that seems like the perfect game to do it. Because also because so pretty. Yeah, the whole game looks... It's a... Like, I'm not necessarily saying that it seems like it's just a family game. It seems great, but one of the things that seems so great about it also is that it's very simple looking, but has depth and just has that vibe. Want to play that Robin Hood game on a cozy afternoon? Exactly. More enemy data, eh? I appreciate it. Still a bit waiting on mechanics to kick in? Yeah. But that's kind of... The good thing and bad thing about legacy games where they reveal mechanics. Was that for someone casual? Absolutely perfect. Yeah. And it's... Oh man, yeah. It's like Pandemic. It's a great casual game, but shows you what a board game can be. That game, I think, if you show a kid that game and then be like, oh, and by the way, here's Gloomhaven. It's a lot more complicated, but it's that, but to the nth degree. Now understand here what the world of board gaming is. And over the enemy data. Playing the Pandemic game for a couple of years in a row and you're getting sick of it? Yeah, it's getting kind of boring. It's great having another scanner helping me out. Thanks to you, I've gathered the data 60% faster than I'd planned. I wonder how long we'll be doing this. It's not like we or our Android units have a home to return to. Yeah, but gathering intelligence is still important. It's a huge support for the war effort. I know that. Okay. Sorry, Nines, I didn't mean to yell at you. Anyway, this chunk data you brought me means I finally hit my goal. I'd like you to have this. It belonged to an old friend, but I think you'd be happy to know what you're using it. I hope a new patch will come soon so we unlock the open world again. 0 and 9s, remember. No regrets, okay? We need to think about what we're going to do from this point forward. Thanks for everything. Pandemic Legacy? I played first mission of Pandemic Legacy, and then we started playing a different game. But I don't think we played Season 2, I think we were playing Season 1. Oh, yeah. Well, we started... Because I don't think we finished Clank Legacy. Which is a shame. I think we just started playing other things. We started playing Clank Legacy, and then we moved on to Journeys in Middle-earth. We just wanted to look at it, and then we got addicted to it, and then we got Dave in. And then we got continuously addicted to it. And then we never went back to Clank Legacy. Which is a shame, because that is one of my favorite, like, casual games. Still one of the best deck building games out there, in my opinion. I don't know where I'm going. I will forever recommend Clank Legacy to people. But then at some point, it was just the four of us, so we were like, maybe we try out Pandemic Legacy, see what it's got going for it. We need to decide our next campaign. I really want it to be Descent. The quest is done. I think so, Shadow. If it's not, then I'm stupid. Cleared quests 100%. Yes. Because with Descent, it's 5 player, but 1 player is the Overlord. And we can just easily interchangeably switch out the Overlord, right? So I know that Ricky really wants to play Overlord. I know that Ketu really wants to play Overlord. I kind of want to try it every now and again. Well, you and Piranha too as well, if you wanted to. So we can just rotate out Overlord, and then you just jump in with your own character, but who levels up alongside. It's yeah. You can go through the settings. Yes, I can. Language. Voices, English. Text, English. Keyboard layout, QWERTY. Game. Difficulty, normal. Partner NPC combo style, balanced. Minimap rotation, on. Vibration, on. Inactive play, off. Camera. Horizontal orientation, normal. Vertical, normal. Horizontal, speed. Merble. Gotta do more reading on the Warhammer Sigma shittery. I did not. I decided. Well, it's weird the way that the rules are laid out in the book. It's like I'm meant to be learning them alongside you guys. If I say you guys, the people that would be playing it, which I don't enjoy as a GM. I enjoy if it's that's how you guys learn it, but not how I would learn it. Yeah. Locked enemy. More time for board game sessions, sometimes finding for all 4 people to come together. Yeah, we play like once a week, if that. Which is, I wish that we could play more, because there's so many board games, but it's just, you know. Do you want me to self-destruct on? There's so many games at the moment. There is. It's true. And sessions aren't short. Yep. Just keep going. I can't. The other menus? Did I miss one in screen? Did I miss one in camera? Oh, besides settings. Oh. Network. Controls. Play records. Bodies infected 0. Infected bodies subdued 0. Number of deaths 20. Is that it? That's pretty good, I think. Return to title screen. I think it did that by itself. I'll turn it on. I didn't turn it off. It keeps doing it. I don't know what that's about. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't turn it off. I have no need to turn it off. I can just ignore them if I want to. Step aside, please. Coming through. We should be good. Okay. Ending it is, or if I want to read intel. That's a good point. Did I have all of the... I think I read these. While the machine lifeform network was destroyed following the collapse of the tower, a great deal of previously unknown information regarding machine lifeforms and aliens was recovered from the wreckage. As part of the analysis, we compiled research and conjecture regarding both the machine lifeform network and the lifeform codename N2, commonly known as the Red Girls, that was thought to have been commanding them. Machine lifeforms are weapons created by the aliens. The only command given for their behaviors was to defeat the enemy. However, it appears that their capacity for growth and evolution went too far, and they eventually turned on and killed their creators. At this point, machine lifeforms recognized that the goal of defeating the enemy actually required an enemy. In order to maintain this singular objective, they reached a contradictory conclusion that their current enemies, the androids, could not be annihilated completely, lest they no longer have an enemy to defeat. In order to resolve this inherent contradiction, the machine lifeforms began to intentionally cause deficiencies in their network, diversifying the vectors of evolution for all machines. This is the cause behind some of the more special machine lifeforms, such as Pascal and the Forest King. Meanwhile, the deficient network began repeating a process of self-repair while incorporating surrounding information, until it finally reached a fixed state as a new form of network. Traces of information regarding human memories from the quantum server of the old model were discovered, indicating that it had integrated with them during the final stages of its growth process. Said server contained a record of the discarded Project Gestalt, as well as information on the human who was the first successful example of the Gestalt process, NieR. Having acquired information regarding humanity, the network structure began to change once more, becoming what might better be called a meta-network, or a concept, to borrow the word of machines. This led directly to the formation of the ego we identify as N2. So then, to sum up, for hundreds of years we've been fighting a network of machines with the ghost of humanity at its core. We've been living in a stupid fucking world where we couldn't fight, where we fight an endless war that we couldn't possibly lose, all for the sake of some council of humanity on the moon that doesn't even exist. I don't know what the point is to all this, but I swear I will kill every evolutionary dead-end machine lifeform, as well as every single asshole behind Project Yorha. I'm coming for all your heads. Fuck you. Information Analysis Officer. Jackass? What? What? Okay. We had the... I'm missing 5 and 9. Hold on. In the abandoned factory's underground area after it's been shut down. 5, 9, and 11. Okay. Start from the factory furnace access point. Let's get these. And then we'll read through the project gestalts. Start from the factory furnace. Which I can't. So let's go to the hangar. And make our way to the furnace. Okay. Right. I'm assuming probably all of them are in here because I haven't really done anything in this place. Every so often I'll start climbing up and then just get the thing that I need and stop. Okay. Mostly because it's really quite tedious. Also, the music video was indeed copyrighted, but it's fine. Just got muted in the VOD. Which is no big deal. About it. Yeah. And I almost, as soon as I heard the first lyrics, I was like, this is definitely getting muted. And these boys are. But it's fine. I have to go in there. That's where a weapon was, I think. What am I doing? I think, yeah, one of the weapons that I got was up there in that room, the left.
Hey there!
Hey there.
Thanks,
Thanks, friendo. I'm gonna show again for you guys are watching the stream. Bloons Tower Defense. Is that not what you're always playing anyway? Is there a hack chest anywhere over here? How is Bloons funny with friends? Is there not an entirely single player experience? What? Okay. Sure. Three? You do 3. Okay, you all do 3. That's good. It has 4-player co-op and has resulted in one of your most heated arguments. Interesting. Very interesting. What? Can I climb up here? Huh? Oh, I can just go this way. Why did it look like I couldn't? Fuck off. No. This is... What have I done? What have I done? I should have continued just going up the tower, because that's probably the closest place. It was probably right next to a thing. Oh my god. But I think I can just take an elevator up. Do we still have the 95? Yeah. I saved just before I teleported here. See. No, I can't take this elevator. Why not? I've taken it down before. Sweet. Yeah. It was literally just before I teleported here. But I'm not going to go through that hack lock door until after I get to the furnace. There is another Stampy section. Where he almost died. But I really should probably just hack something and go through it with the hack thing. Also, this is much faster. Just ignoring everything. But I haven't lost too much. Not. What just happened? I am going to go down that elevator and save. So then I can just come back up if I get killed by the thing. Whilst I'm in this elevator, I'm going to go... Oh, it's already over. Never mind. I was going to consider going to pee. But no, I won't. I will right now, though. Haha. Cool. Okay. Maybe you should start streaming something. Why you should do some more Warhammer campaigns. And stream them? Yeah. Unless that would kill your PC. Since it would probably kill most PCs, because what the fuck is that game? Okay. lower some settings, definitely. To not do that would be just killing your computer. Does a computer exist that can effectively stream that game at max settings? I don't think any hardware has been created that can achieve such a feat. As of yet. Some streamers can. I don't think it's possible. How the hell would one get up there? Would one do it by not killing that robot and instead hacking it? No. One would not. Is there anything in there? Probably nothing in there. It's probably Gestalt Report 11. But I guess we'll never know. Oh, there it is.
Hey there!
Nope. No. Okay. So let's go back down into that hack door. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I was so close to finally getting hang. Somehow they managed to be somehow they managed to be in an even more annoying place. No. Yeah, I think when I was going through unlocking boxes, I hadn't been to this area yet. I'm assuming that I need to be there actually. Allow me control. You did not allow me control. Huh. He had white eyes, he hadn't seen me. Is it possible to get up there? Without that? Is that what I need anyway? No, not for 5 at least. No, okay. Oh. What I can do is this. And perhaps it's a safer route if I go entirely over the top. Indeed. Oh, but no, this is where I need to be. So I did need to go up this way. What else did I need? 9? There's 5. No, surely I have 9. What did I need? Oh, I did need 9. In the tower? I didn't get the tower one? 9 and 11 are in the tower. Well, fuck. Wait, hold on. What the? 1702 and 1705, thank you. Okay. And we're out. That was much harder than getting in. Don't know if you can grab them and head out. Oh, for fuck's sake. Maybe I just read them off the wiki. And I'll go and grab them off stream. There is no traditional save in the tower. Yeah. We can spam through it. Fuck it. 1702 and 1705. Nine is in the tower after he recovers from the ambush in the tower. Behind him and the rebel will be the chest.
Corrupted Yorha units.
I can just spam through pretty quickly.
Hello, and thank you for choosing Tower System Services.
Unless this is already after the ambush and I just needed to turn around over there.
Today. Don't forget about the special prize for the guest who unlocks the last subunit.
This is the ambush.
To me! To me! Don't worry, I'm going to kill you now!
Alert. Enemies detected.
Oops.
Alert. The structure known. As the tower has opened its gate.
Let's check it out.
But this is... Huh? That's why I didn't get in the tower. I need to do it whilst they're all alive? I can get that one easily, though. Because I can just save immediately after. That one's fine. 11 might be dodgy. 1702. After the ambush. That's 11. What am I doing? I'm not looking for 11, I'm looking for 5. 9 even.
Corrupted Yorha units.
Yeah, there we go. And it's after he recovers from the ambush, which is 05.
Hello, and thank you for choosing Tower System Services. We're so pleased you've chosen to visit the tower today. Don't forget about the special prize
for the guest who unlocks the last subunit.
But we can just end the game as well, right? Shadow?
To me. To me! Don't worry. I'm going to kill
We can
you
just
now.
read them once we have them all,
Enemies
and then just
detected.
continue to finish the game.
Still a few stragglers, huh?
Alert. The structure known as the tower has
Which is
opened
fine.
its gate.
Let's check it out.
That's fine. Do a proper save. Before it hits them. Yeah, there we go. That was an accident to use that, and it was about to hit the moose and hurt him. And then he would have attacked me. That would have just been annoying. There is a lot of chapter points between here and there, though. But blasting through, like, think about how many times I did the Shadow Lord's castle. The entirety of the Shadow Lord's castle.
Alert.
I
Virus
went back here,
detected
didn't
in
I? I looked.
locomotion region. High probability that infection source is transplanted parts from
Oh, this is
corrupted
nothing, I'm
units.
sure.
Proposal. Hack into cell and eliminate virus.
On it.
Did I really not see that chest? I went and got that thing, I know that I did. But I missed the chest. Ugh. Wasted so much time by missing that chest.
Virus eliminated. 95% of functionality restored.
95? What is with the number 95? A knack for these things? I do, don't I? There we go. Okay, let's read. The proliferation of the white chlorination syndrome that emerged in 2003. 95-9S. Oh, fucking of course it is, Patrick. The proliferation of the white chlorination syndrome that emerged in 2003, alongside the appearance of the giant and dragon, has continued unabated, and outbreaks are now being observed on a global scale. Despite being researched in laboratories across the world, not only have there been no breakthroughs in the development of a vaccine to prevent infection, we've yet to ascertain how it even spreads. However, many technological breakthroughs have been made as a result of research conducted on the mesoparticle that was discovered at the same time. We're confident that the technology it enables, the separation of the soul from the body and the independent preservation of both, will be the final defense against the unprecedented threat to humanity that we now face. Now that the project has passed from preparation into the main implementation phase, we have given it the official name, Project Gestalt. Yes, this is huge. If you haven't played Replicant and intend to, leave. I have just been talking about Replicant spoilers throughout this entire playthrough, but this is the biggest ones. You're a goddamn genius. Yeah, you are. April 4th, 2015, a year later. Protests in opposition to the spiritual preservation method that was disclosed as Level 1 information related to Project Gestalt have sprung up in all areas. The committee continues to receive formal complaints from our research team regarding the collection of biased data as a result of the Gestalt process being conducted on the sick and elderly. The number of civilians having undergone the Gestalt process remains at 4. A public relations department will be established in order to better control information and improve our image. We will also consider rescheduling the project itself if such an action is deemed necessary. 2025. Oops. 10 years later. We received a report from the laboratory indicating that the basic technology of the replicant system is expected to be completed by the end of August. It's currently August 23rd. The verifications of its safety, along with all clinical trials, will be conducted from September through November. A report will be submitted to the Prime Minister indicating that the completion of the replicant system will represent a tremendous leap forward for Project Gestalt. This report will be handled by the Public Relations Department. Well, if you think about it, Patrick, the game released in 2010. This is 2014. Though the White Chlorination Syndrome emerged in 2003. So already it's been there for 11 years. So 22 years before this report. Or 23 now. It's September 24, 2026. A report has been submitted to the Prime Minister regarding the rampaging weapons incident that occurred at the National Arms Laboratory in June, which was what we saw with Kaine at the Manor in the short story I can't remember the name of. Though the laboratory's budget and allocated human resources are expected to see significant cuts, a team of staffers will continue meso research under the umbrella of Project Gestalt. Records of human experimentation conducted using meso are scheduled to be disclosed to concerned parties separately as Level 6 classified information. Fucking hell. May 5th, 2033. It's been 30 years? Through the use of meso technology related to multi-dimensional worlds, 13 activation systems have been completed, including Grimoire Noir. We also have confirmed that these systems can be used to return Gestalts to their replicant forms once the White Chlorination Syndrome has been fully eliminated. Work necessary for this system will be continued by the Grimoire Noir Project Work Group. 2044, 11 years later, 41 years after the incident. Today's committee meeting was cancelled due to the absence of a majority of members. The contact network for urgent absences is to be confirmed at a later date. 2045. It has been decided that... What do they mean by multidimensional worlds? Drakengard, right? Because the dragon that appeared in 2003 came from a different world entirely. It appeared through a portal in the sky, and then they had to kill the dragon. It has been decided that the United Nations will launch a full-scale investigation and infiltration operation in order to determine the cause of the massive Legion outbreak in the Tokyo area. Details regarding the process of Project Gestalt are to be shared as part of this effort, though we will insist that any information which leaves the country must first be thoroughly verified by our committee. In particular, information regarding relapses, named tentative, must be kept in the strictest confidence. 2053, 50 years. As Project Gestalt undergoes approval in countries across the world, we recognise that there has been imperfections in how information has been regulated with regards to citizens. Until the safety of this final system has been verified, all information related to this matter is subject to Level 4 classification. As such, its relation to the Ministry of Health and Welfare's Life Rehabilitation Program must be kept strictly confidential. Furthermore, we ask that the following information be sent to all related personnel and organisations immediately. Clauses regarding compensation in the event of information leaks are to be added to contracts with all partner companies. In the event of an information leak, ascertaining the source should be the company's top priority. Please refer to Countermeasures C for information on how to handle leaked information as well as individuals who disclosed it. 2054. The discovery and development of the original has contributed greatly to the stabilization of Project Gestalt. Long-term management of the original will be handled by the Hamlin organization. As per the management mentioned above, all authority regarding the cryogenic plans for the relapsed Yona is to be transferred to the Hamlin organization. '27 2764. 761 years later. We have received troubling reports from multiple administration zones that the replicants have started to behave as if they have developed senses of self. It is currently under investigation what implications this might have for Project Gestalt as a whole, as other disclosable matters have already been directed to the Administrators Union. They have been omitted here. So this one was by Poplar and Deviler then. Due to the relapse of the original 3361. This is just before NieR Replicant then. So it's been 600 years since the relapses have started. Not the relapses is when Gestalts start to attack. Since sentience has started happening in Replicants. Due to the relapse of the original, Gestalt units in preservation are now relapsing at an accelerated rate. The process of recording their bodies and gathering their DNA continues, but progress is poor. New countermeasures and development intended to serve as a replacement to Project Gestalt are scheduled to be transferred to the Next Generation Preservation Project Preparation Committee. As for this report, it will serve as the final record of both Project Gestalt and the committee. For information about the development plans for new Android models and the refinement of existing models, please refer to the attached sheet. Furthermore, we have received approval to consider the disposal of the Deviler and Poplar Observer models at a later date. Okay. Well. How am I missing a tutorial? I don't like that. I'll go through weapon stories after I've beaten the game. I think I want to make sure that we have time to beat the game.
Your high unit 9S. Your high unit 9S. Welcome to the tower. Welcome to the tower.
You bastards!
Because you made it this far, we have a special announcement just for
Gabriel.
you.
We'll reveal it once you destroy all the machine life forms here.
Such a difficult task. I don't know why I'm looting them as if any of them will have anything that could ever be useful to me. Fine. Yeah. So, I have a question for you. I know that you lurk a lot. Do you have any idea what's happening in this game?
This is Project Yorha.
Did I read Yorha Disposal? I did, right? Yeah, my archive data hasn't increased.
Personalities created within the machine network. We cannot be destroyed.
I don't know how much attention you pay. He's a Terran himself.
Keep them coming. I'll destroy them all of them.
So it's not...
And this tower!
It's just a general curiosity. Didn't ask you that question, because I know that you don't have any idea about them. Not really. Okay. Skip, please. Or not. There we go. Oh no, we're getting in. Oh, I forgot about the library.
Who are they?
Please die. Is it gone? Can I go? Nice. This chest I missed, but it's Pirate Part L maybe would be useful for a pod. But I don't think so. I think I can farm them off the big amusement park thing anyway.
Damn it!
Alert. Enemy hacking detected. Proposal. Retreat immediately.
After reading the side stories, you may have an idea what a trade. Actually, towards the Thomas story. Yeah. It's more about these two and their relationship, right? Focus less on the Gestalt things, focus more on the characters in this game.
Number 2. Or should we call it 2 now?
Pay attention to all of the little things in this game.
Though concepts like us, time has little meaning. Still,
I see.
when we wiped out your forces, it made quite the impression on us. You're attacker model number 2. An experimental disposable group created as a test ground for Project NieR.
Shut up!
But you also surely understand why we couldn't do that. Why we kept ignoring your words. After playing Replicant, it's impossible to play this in a vacuum. Didn't consider the defining characterization element would be carried over. Yeah.
You're an obstinate little android, aren't you?
Understand.
We said that you can't kill us.
Damn it!
Maybe the reason why I don't love this game as much as everybody else, and I love Replicant that much instead, is because I was focused more on the...
Proposal.
I wasn't focusing on the characters
Utilize
as
the
much.
enemy's logical learning
How do you
function
think
to
technical
form your
reincarnation?
own
Yeah.
best.
I don't know what that means!
This pod has serious concerns about Unit A2's cognitive abilities.
Shut up and explain it already!
Said strategy would interrupt the enemy's logic circuits, causing a computational delay.
Meaning what?
Do not destroy
First time
the
this game
enemy.
makes the pacing really weird. It does, doesn't it?
Striking at the logic circuit requires a certain number of enemies to remain extant for a certain
Like I said at
period
the
of
time, it
time.
didn't feel like it finished. It was like halfway over. Which is something that
The
Caro
enemy's
talks about in the
processing speed
interview,
has returned to normal.
and I was
Proposal.
talking about earlier
Do
on
not
stream.
destroy enemies.
But it's like,
No, alright.
Replicant can be played without any of the bullshit. It can be played as just a really good action RPG where you're going to save your sister. And it can be played as that, and you can ignore all of the other weird shit because it's not really the focus of the game in any way, unless you play the other endings. And even then, still not really. But in this, you can't do that. Because this game kind of gives you nothing to work with on playthrough A.
Consciousness data saturation rate 30%.
But it gives you a lot of things to look out for if you play the game, after reading the side content. Automata as a whole is another beast, and we get good ideas once we get to the video. Yeah, okay.
Consciousness data saturation rate 60%.
Also, one of the things in the interview that like, I didn't realize, but when you get to the second half of it, when you get old, the water near your house is full of white petals. It's not there in the first half. It's because NieR has been trying to grow lunatears the entire time that Kaine has been gone, so when she comes back, you can give her a
The enemy's
lunateer.
defensive system is prompting an evolution of its logic.
And Fiona. And that's wonderful. That tiny little element. And that game is just filled with those tiny little elements. It's way more classically set up. Yeah. It is. And I like that this game is experimenting with things like that, but it's... Replicant just feels cozy to me, even as confusing and bullshit as it is. I don't know. It feels cozy.
Consciousness data saturation rate, 90%.
At a base level, I know what's happening. Even like a conceptual level, a deeper level, I do not. But like, I know what's happening in terms of gameplay. I know what's happening in terms of everything going on around. Familiarity, yeah. Feels like a classic action RPG. This has nowhere to like get your like grips on things, on reality. Got no feet.
Hypothesis. The enemy's consciousness has begun to fracture.
You're always floundering. Which is good sometimes when done well, and I think that it is done well in this. It's just not what I was
Analysis.
looking
The saturated
for.
consciousnesses are now
Not necessarily
conflict
looking
with each
for.
other.
I don't know.
They're acting like humans.
It's interesting how different this game is, while still kind of somewhat vaguely being the same. I was gonna say, why did it just stop there? Hello? Element of novelty effect. Yeah.
Is this thing seriously still kicking?
Speculation. It is driven by remaining data located within enemy servers.
So this just keeps going until I kill them all?
This fucking thing is dead, yeah? Already? Nice. Yeah, this game is a lot of novelty. I was thinking about earlier, when I was reading through the things, and all of the references to Replicant, and I was like, I could play Replicant again. I could very happily sit down and play Replicant again as a game,
What the hell is this thing going on about?
and I would enjoy it.
It appears to be a leak of the
I
enemy's past
don't know if I
memories.
feel the same way about Automata. It's a great experience to have once. But I think it is a lot of novelty that I wouldn't necessarily... Yeah, maybe Solo was right. This is the game that you would want to erase your memory for and play again. Replicant, you don't need to. I still stand by the fact that Replicant has bigger reveals that change the way the entire game works. Story isn't as satisfying. Yeah, maybe it's because it's still not over. In Replicant, it was over on A. And the rest was just trying to explain and also add extra confusion. But the story was over. You rescue Yona. In this, there kind of isn't even a story. What is the story? There's no goal. You're just kind of constantly doing things. And then suddenly you're not. And it's over. It's not traditional storytelling at all, which isn't a bad thing. But it means that if it's not as satisfying, at least it's not as satisfying yet. It's not what we're used to, and it's not what we expect. And maybe because that Replicant was traditional storytelling and there was just a clear goal, this is the end point of the entire game, it meant that this game we approach differently. When the lack of purpose was the purpose. So yeah, exactly. I'm not saying it was just done without thought.
So we destroy you too.
But just, it's different to what we
What's all this
experienced in
junk?
Replicant.
Speculation. It is a resource of some kind.
Used to make what?
Unknown.
Replicant, the characters were a lot more fleshed out and important. What are the characters here? Ato is teased for half the game, so you can finally play her. Commander isn't really impactful. Pascal has a few bits of design-wise, but design-wise she's forgettable. Mila's mostly in the background. Adam and Eve died 2 seconds after being introduced. That's my thing as well. Like, one of the reasons why Replicant is so good is because those characters, you feel like they're a little family. They're friends. You feel like you're part of their friendship. I didn't want to end that game to end because I wanted those characters. They are some of my favorite characters in games. They're so well written. They're so well developed. They have such great development and arcs while still not really changing that much. In this, and they all fucking die good deaths. Yeah. And in this, 2B has that character. It's in there from the start. You just do not see it until ending D and by reading the side content, and then you see the amount of guilt that is inside of her, the amount of trauma that's going on in that head with her relationship with 9S. You don't see that in the game at all, not even the subtle levels that Replicant does things, so you don't really necessarily care about 2B. And 9S, I really don't like what they did with him and how massively he changes the character. Maybe we'll see why that happens. I don't know. I don't like it at the moment, but... Oh yeah, when you switch characters, that's fine. But it's just so constant because they're taking so much damage. No idea what I'm talking about, that's the problem, yeah. Yeah, read the side content, Patrick. I think you'll appreciate a lot more what's going on.
So
But it's not in the game, and I know that most of the Replicant stuff isn't either.
Nina.
Shut up! You, that's all.
But the
Because the 9
characters are. Okay. I choose 8-2. No, I choose 9S. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll want 9S. And now I'm flying through, yeah. I don't need to do the hacking thing anymore, right? I've done it already.
It doesn't matter! None of this matters!
9X!
If it doesn't matter, why do I long for...
But I can't do it. Because she's gonna die from it in a moment. Patrick, I think what your reaction would be to reading this side stuff would be, what the fuck? Why was none of this in the game? It's really good, but why was none of it shown in the game? Like we won't be able to, yeah. But again, like, Anemone, the Commander, Pascal, A2, no Adam and Eve, nobody is in the game enough. The game is too short. And there's too many of these characters that are never shown. Even though I guess the game isn't that short. It is, but it's not. Like, if you think about it, you do A, it's like 20 hours long. And then you do B, it's the same length. And then you have C. It's not the same length, it's a lot shorter. You have C, which is the second half of the game, and D. In First Ending fucks it, yeah, but in Replicant, it's the same. You have the first half of the game as the child, and then the second half of the game as the adult. It's just that you don't suddenly stop the game and play the child half again, and then without finishing the game, you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then you do the other half. It's the end, oh that was short, oh wait, it's not short at all. Yeah. It like does the same two-half thing, but cuts off in the middle, finishes. It's weird. You think where the problem lies is you're expected to really consider the situation of these characters, but it might fail a bit to throw the hook. But it also tackles so much. Yeah. Because you're trying to figure out what the fuck's happening. You're floundering. You're struggling to stay afloat in this world, trying to get a grip on what's going on, whilst expected to see the nuances of these characters. And you're not paying attention to the nuance of these characters. You're trying to pay attention to the robots and the aliens and Adam and Eve and the tower. You have all of this shit going on that you're trying to make sense of in your head whilst you're being asked to pay attention to the nuances of anyone. Like, Pascal's story is horrific. I really like Pascal's story, start to end. It really tries to make you not understand anything or anyone. Yeah. Whereas it doesn't necessarily feel like, in Replicant, it's not trying to do that. It's just like, it's not giving you the information that you want. Right? Am I not supposed to be able to shoot in here? Or is that afterwards?
Report. All Yorha unit black boxes are mission to overs proceeding to commencing.
Yeah, delete the data.
Pod 153
Replicant
to
has
pod
all of this confusing
042.
things going on.
Data noise present in stream.
But
Requesting
the main
temporary
character
halt to
is
perform
also
data
trying
check.
to make sense of it and understand it.
Pod 042 personal data for you.
Pod 15 follow project.
Pod 04 personal data.
Pod 15 failure to
Pod 0 there was I have come to the
the destruction all data.
Pod 0 repeat. Personal Pod 15. You hope they would survive as well.
Replicant,
didn't
you just see the different layers within each ending, and this one gives you more story, which makes it all... Yeah.
We lack the rules are protect knowing that. Do you still wish for them to survive?
It does, as you'll see, but it does not. Does it not conventionally? Yeah.
The defense program has initiated.
It's not over,
purge.
Pigeon.
If
It's
this
never
continues,
over.
our consciousness
This
data
game
will
cannot
likely be
finish.
deleted.
Pod 042 to Pod 153. We were created to execute the android's Project Yorha plan. We had no capacity for emotion, but when we six were connected and exchanged information, something happened. I cannot deny the feeling of something resembling consciousness and emotion being born.
Unable to reply.
Perhaps we now understand that not everything has to have an answer.
Go low 100% of them. I can't. It's not possible. It just keeps going. I'll just let you know, Michael. So yeah, now we pay attention. Ending number, what is this then? Technically this is E. So we just did D, and then immediately it's moved into E. Now we get pod character development after 100 hours of game where they'll do anything. I will disagree with you there. I think the pods slowly throughout the game, the pods have the most character development that is shown. They slowly throughout the game start. They're always there, right? They're always the same. They're almost like this comedic. A2 hates them. 2B is constantly annoyed by them. There's this comedic side thing that's just, it doesn't have a character, and that's its character. And then slowly they start getting one. And like, in just subtly. It's subtle, but you don't realize at the end. Yeah, but I think it's done really well. Because then you realize, oh wait, they have been. Super cool, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things in the game, I think, those two pods. Thinking about it now. Still don't know which one's 42 and which one's 153 though. But part of me was also disappointed because they're not a Grimoire NieR. Grimoire Vice. Grimoire Vice was such a good. I loved him. And it's not that, but it's trying to be that, but it's not trying to be that. It's entirely different. I said 2 weeks ago there was no main characters, weirdly enough. Yeah. Truly. Hello, Tim Van Ingen. Could you please die? Thank you. Not the real Tim Van Ingen. He's probably a lovely man. Just the name. It's also Liam. Yeah, yeah. Just the voice acting as well. It adds so much. So I didn't realize that the original... So there was Replicant and there was Gestalt, right? Replicant was the Japanese release, which is brother and sister. That was the original intended version. And then Square Enix America wanted a different version for their audience, so they made Gestalt as well, which was made at the same time, whereas father and daughter. But I didn't realize that Replicant, original Replicant, was meant to be fully voice acted in English as well. It was a Japanese only release, but fully voice acted in English. Or meant to be. And then there were troubles, which meant that they had to change that. There were issues with the voice acting, and they had to make it fully Japanese. It's strange to me, though, that they would have a Japanese release and an American release which are entirely different, but still they both are English voice acting. I guess, so there's continuity, but like, strange. DMC has this too. For DMC4 there was no English version. Oh, no Japanese dub. Okay, yeah. I was about to say. Yeah. Hold on. They got lucky for DMC2 though. They didn't get a Japanese version of that. Probably less inclined to play it. Absolutely nothing game. There was a Japanese version, it was just the dub that was English. Yeah, yeah, but still. You know what I mean? Can't remember if I'm further than I got to last time. But I am focusing so hard. Goodbye, CU team. 8-4 limited. Fuck! You distracted me, 8-4 limited. That was my first damage hit. Don't let it tilt me. I'm not gonna let it tilt me. It won't happen. Keywords International. By LQA lead. By Juan Garcia. By Nicholas, you died too fast, I couldn't even read your name. No, I got to Square Enix last time. I remember this shit. No, that was not gonna happen. No. Okay. It's fine. I just start straight back here. Okay. Ow. I killed them and then fucked myself. Why am I not paying attention? Okay. No. Breathe. Can I hit run over? Then start again. Dude, that would be bad. Back to business division. Character design. Never give up, trust your instincts, peppy, lilac system. Yeah, well. My instincts tell me that this section is incredibly difficult. And it's going to take me a while. I got fucked there. And there. Far away as possible from the big one. Yeah. I start close and then I just move to the edge of the screen. But with bullet hells, it's like a lot of the time I don't know where it is. I'm looking at where I'm not looking at the thing. I'm looking at where the projectiles are coming from and shooting in that general direction. But like I am looking only at the ship. I am just dodging and hoping that I'm hitting things. Everything else on the screen is just being ignored. So much black, yeah. I think I got past the hard part there, and I just fucked up. I was a little bit distracted and tilted because I got hit once. I think at one point it looked like I went through one and I'd given up and resigned to my fate, and I hadn't actually. Because the tip of the ship doesn't count either. It's only the back of the ship, I think. I'm just gonna die. Don't think you blinked in the last 10 minutes. No. No. Want to admit there's no meaning. Would that rescue attempt offer have just done it for me? Or would it have... is it just trying its best to convince me to give up? Okay, I need to stop. I just need to... It's swapping the yeses and nos around as well. What? I think you know a trick to this, is it to not play it. I want to look at them a bit. I don't want to both. Always next time onto that, you're not the only one. The second dimension. Han, you and I are the same, in any case keep going. China. Zen, you must decide what it means to exist, therefore you should. Shay1, sometimes you just feel trapped, in any case never forget about the struggle. Heaven. I'm rooting for you, USA. I bet you're having a tough time right now. I did my best, one thing is certain, I'm rooting for you. It'd be amazing if you cleared this alone. One thing is certain, I'm rooting for you. From Rias R. Gremory. Sometimes it's not the big one that's the issue, it's the small ones. They've just got tiny little ones that they're also putting out that I'm not destroying because I'm not shooting in that direction. So I have to move out of the way of them so that I can, because I don't want to re-aim. Focus ads, yeah, literally. Yeah, I fucked it there. I don't admit that there's no meaning to this world. L1 lightning. Hold on. Will they just give me new weapons if I do them? Will I get a lightning attack on L1 if I accept? Character design acting like a tank, yeah. What's the next one that it'll show me? Everton. Oh. I don't know what an Everton is, so. I like how Business Division 6 is also one of these hyper bosses. Out of all of them. Business Division 6, along with Square Enix and character design. And marketing design, all. Wait, tomorrow's Monday? Anyway, and I just began. I like a meal. 82 versus the machine, you fool, you cannot hope to defeat me. Noodle versus character design, you fool, you cannot hope to defeat me. Character design constantly defeats me. Wait, tomorrow's Monday? It's a little pointless. No. It's the little ads that the character design protects, exactly. It's the characters themselves. Square Enix doesn't usually get a hit on me. Neither does Business Division 6. I am tilted. I don't think the games are silly little things. Jesse Sir Mikhail W? No. Every time there's like a slightly longer black screen there, I always get worried that I've hit the wrong thing. Oh my god. Yeah, fuck off, Jesse. Everything can carry the weight of the world. Shut up, Shadow. Who is this executive officer and how can I call them? Dude. Well, we know we can't kill the CEO of Platinum or Square Enix. We know that if they come up, then they're never gonna die. They're too powerful for me. Okay, Shadow, am I allowed to accept help from somebody? Does it fuck it up? NieR Automata average playtime ongoing. Yes. It's the producer and the officer, no chance for these two. It's race to world first, still, for NieR Automata. Shadow, listen. That's what I thought by the first message that you sent. I'm supposed to ask for help. This is supposed to be ridiculous. Perhaps even impossible at some point. But I'm gonna try it all again. One last time. Okay. Goodbye, co-producer. Season and carrying your mum. I got him. Blood work, blood work. I'll accept it from blood work. Oh, that. Bloodwork's data has been lost? No. Gotta join our hands to harness the power of friendship. Okay, well, this is much easier, yes. Is it possible to do it without this, though? Or does it eventually just get to a point where it is not possible? Like you're carrying the weight of the world, but it all seems meaningless. Not Kage. Who was Kage? They were the person that I declined the help from. Wow. Was there always this many voices in the song? Or have they added this many voices now that I've gotten help? Also, I keep seeing Square Enix showing up again, which means that almost definitely this would have taken fucking forever. And I wasn't even close without it. Song. Ow. Sorry, Shuaidong. Oh no, sorry. There in my head, please help. Jinxed data. Sorry, Jinxed. That could be a horrific name that just shows up. This is why I needed online on, isn't it? Jesse. Jesse, we didn't want Jesse's help. This is why I needed online, because I needed people to help me. President and CEO, he can't be killed. Not Matsuda. He can't be killed. Oh, I killed him. That's just you singing. A beautiful voice, man.
Everything that lives is designed to end. They are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. However, life is all about the struggle within this cycle. That is what we believe. Pod 153 to Pod 042. How is it going?
I am embarrassed.
Why is that?
I launched a suicide attack, and yet here I am, still alive. I must look very silly.
Do not feel bad about it. We are alive, after all. And being alive is pretty much a constant stream of embarrassment.
That concept is a bit too abstract for me to understand at this time. I will save it in my list of things to analyze later.
Question, Pod 042. Did the data salvage restore all of their past memories?
Yes.
And are those recovered parts of the same design as previous ones?
Yes.
Then, won't that simply lead us to the same conclusion as before?
I cannot deny the possibility. However, the possibility of a different future also exists. A future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself.
Pod 153 to player. Please respond to this query. Do you, faithful player, have anything you would like to say to other players who are suffering because they cannot finish NieR Automata?
Wait, tomorrow's Monday? Can't fight on an empty stomach. This is an unwinnable fight. In any case, don't give up here. Why are these not in any kind of order? There is no alphabetical order. There is no order. I have to look through all of these. Why is there no order? Finland. It needs order. You must decide what it means to exist. Was good. I considered it. This is an unwinnable fight. In any case, don't give up here. Finland. It'd be amazing if you cleared it all alone. That's the most horrific one.
Pod 042 to player. Please respond to this query. You, faithful player of this title, have lost your life multiple times to make it this far. You have faced crushing hardship and suffered greatly for it. Do you have any interest in helping the weak?
Yes.
Selecting this option enables you to save someone somewhere in the world. However, in exchange, you will lose all of your save data. Do you still wish to rescue someone, a total stranger, in spite of this? The person you save will be selected at random. As a result, this person, who cries out for help even as we speak, may be someone you intensely dislike. Do you still wish to help?
Yeah, because that section of the game, I will help anybody do that.
You worked so hard to unlock debug mode and chapter select, but they will no longer
Shut
be
the
available
fuck up.
to you. Do you still wish to help?
Yes.
You may not receive thanks for your efforts.
But listen, Pod.
Some may say that your efforts are purely for show.
I said fuck you to Jesse and they helped, but they still helped me. Yes.
And you are truly
yes.
sure about this? Very well. In exchange for all of your data,
oh no,
I will
debug
convey
mode.
your
Anyway.
will to this world.
Go on, do it. That's a cool ending. That's a really fucking good ending. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as NieR, a replicant, but in such a cool way, and it's really fucking cool that everybody that helped me in there had to have done this as well. So yeah, we didn't read those weapon stories. We got them. Didn't read them. Did the first person to complete it have to complete it? Do it without anyone? Surely they would have had to, yeah. It looked possible, just fucking difficult. What if the first person that actually asked for help, first person to get that far in the game and asked for help, Yeah, the game devs. They saw Yoko Taro helping them. They saw the writers helping them.
All of your data
It
has
would have
been
been pretty
deleted.
fucking cool.
And so, we must say goodbye. I feel a slight amount of sadness.
Who helped the writers? Was it God? Yes.
It is time for the final words.
Affirmative.
To all of you who spent time with this game, thank you. Thank you for playing.
Are we done here? Are we done here, Shadow? I don't think we are. But are we? Game-wise? Are we coming back next week with this game? We can watch the video now, yeah. I can probably just eat whilst we watch it. I'm coming back with it next week? Okay. To get all the other little endings. But I can close this game and we'll watch the video. If I can stomach the homework. We'll see. We'll see. 18.8% of people got that, saw the final credits. That's surprisingly high. That is very surprisingly high. What is it for NieR Replicant? The final verse, 2.2% of people got it. Well, this game does better than Replicant as the metagame, for sure. But NieR Replicant had 2.2% of people got the congratulations. Thank you for the final. Wait, no, was that 100%? Let's see. Let's. This is defeat within this amount of time. Graded to maximum level. Caught fish. Cultivated flower. Ending E. How can I see percentages? View global achievement stats. Ending E. 17.7% people. Never mind for ending E. So that's not that many less. Wait, what was it again for Automata? 8.8, yeah, it's basically the same. Okay. Movie time. So I'm just gonna make some food and eat some food whilst we watch this together. I'm just gonna be muted and we'll watch this video together. We all good?
These days, it's easy to feel like life has become a never-ending fight for survival. Wake up, go to work, hate life, come home, take the edge off, rinse, repeat. The cycle never ends. So when the crushing pointlessness of this grind gets you down, it's only natural to want to indulge in some kind of coping mechanism. It's one of the many reasons I like video games so much, and if you're watching this video, I bet you feel the same way. This creates an interesting contradiction. In one context, rote, day-to-day repetition can be a source of anxiety, depression, and hopelessness. But when we change the context to video games, these repetitive mechanical acts can have an entirely different effect on how you perceive the world. By changing our perception of reality, games have the power to help us find joy and purpose in even the most unexpected places. And yet it's still relatively rare to see a game use their mechanical foundation, the combination of interactivity and repetitive action, to deliver an explicit message to the player. Which is why NieR Automata is one of the most meaningful and moving games I've ever played. This game has already gotten lots of praise and even more analysis and critique, but 18 months after release, I still haven't seen anyone fully explain just what makes this game so special. So, here I am. I'm Michael Saba, and I produce video essays about the transformative potential of games, movies, and pop culture, a series I call Dreaming in Neon. Come with me if you want to live, because this is a story about the joy of being alive. A story that could only be told by a video game.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. Is this a curse or some kind of punishment? I often think about the God who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him.
It might sound silly to think that a video game like NieR Automata has anything profound to say about these big-picture questions of existence. This is an over-the-top spectacle action game starring sexy Harajuku goth ninjas, equal parts pitch-black humor and hyper-violent ballet. Calling the game's tone uneven is being charitable. Now, if you're as overly familiar with Japanese pop culture as I am, then these wild juxtapositions in tone might not seem so strange. But NieR Automata takes it to an extreme. These different tonal elements clash so hard that this game just shouldn't work. And yet, when you scratch beneath the surface and engage with NieR Automata's story, themes, and systems, a more complicated picture emerges. The game invokes and then subverts philosophical concepts drawn from 3,000 years of human history, both Eastern and Western. NieR Automata's story repeatedly references famous philosophers and schools of thought, and then takes them to their logical conclusion and deconstructs them using the game's far-future sci-fi setting. The question, what if robots were like humans, has been asked in fiction many times already, and NieR Automata has no interest in beating this dead horse. This game is far more interested in using its sci-fi premise to interrogate exactly what makes us human in the first place, our ideals and values, and consciousness itself. The game's themes ask a difficult question that has no easy answer. Can we ever resolve the big questions about the meaning of life, or are we just clinging to superstitions that provide structure to a meaningless existence? And most importantly, NieR fully understands and celebrates how its unique perspective can only be expressed in one medium: video games. NieR Automata is set on Earth, but in the far future wasteland of 11,945 AD during the 14th Machine War. These are big, impressive numbers that might make you think there's tons of lore and history here, but they're barely explained or given context. The year 11,945 is one of the game's handful of oblique references to World War II, but these dates are otherwise completely arbitrary, which drives home the mythic and near-religious nature of this long-running conflict. NieR Automata presents us with a world filled with artificial beings, where a mysterious plague and invasion of alien machines have wiped humanity from the Earth. The last remnants of human civilization are gone, fled to a hidden base on the moon. To beat back the invasion, humanity deploys Yorha, an army of advanced combat androids who wage an unending war against the alien machines. The machines are blocky rust buckets that recall vintage 1950s sci-fi films. On the other side, the sleek, elegant, and attractive androids are built in humanity's image. They are seemingly identical to their parents, with a single shared reason for existence that also serves as their rallying cry: glory to mankind. The war between androids and machines raged for thousands of years, eventually grinding to a stalemate, with both factions locked in an endless back-and-forth struggle. The humans who created the androids, and the aliens who built the machines, are all conspicuously absent from this conflict, while their children fight an eternal proxy war on behalf of their creators. In NieR Automata, life itself has become artificial. Now, before we dive much further into this analysis, we first need to talk about Yoko Taro.
NieR Automata T-shirt! NieR Automata T-shirt! Square neck!
Taro is that ultimate rarity in the world of video games, an auteur. He's a creator with a distinct vision that's always front and center in his work, starting with his very first game, 2003's Drakengard, or Dragon Dragoon in Japan. Taro has dark sensibilities. His games deal with very grim themes like genocide, emotional and physical abuse, religious fundamentalism, and characters who, despite their innate goodness or efforts at redemption, almost always suffer unhappy and bitter endings. But this heavy subject matter is the furthest thing from being edgy for edgy's sake. These themes are always used in service to a larger point. When so much of our gaming entertainment revolves around pointless destruction and the ruthless killing of hundreds or thousands of opponents, is a stereotypical happy ending appropriate, or what we really deserve? This is a question worth asking, and very few games seem to find time for it.
Why did you come here? Well, I'll tell you then. You enjoy the killing. That's why.
Taro's games often ask us to be sympathetic to villains that are every bit as flawed and complicated as the heroes, driving home the senselessness of the slaughter that the player is committing. His games are like lovingly crafted cult classic B-movies. They rarely sell blockbuster numbers, and they're always a little rough around the edges, but there's an undeniable level of thoughtfulness and artistry that went into their creation. And for his part, Taro is humble and self-deprecating, and even seems a little uncomfortable with the notion that he's any kind of auteurist figurehead. He rarely appears in public without his trademark mask, a rounded skull with a rictus grin. He's the kind of guy who even does interviews entirely via sock puppet. In his 2014 GDC talk, Making Weird Games for Weird People, Taro actively pushes back against the notion that game stories have to be told in the traditional Hollywood style of a 3-act arc with rising and falling tension. Instead, he approaches the writing and development process by asking how best to evoke emotions in the player and move them on an unconscious, even spiritual level.
Players will play the game and hopefully feel something, an emotion. I design games and write stories, but my goal is to cause an emotional stir inside the player's brain. So, the fundamental goal isn't inside the game sitting in the middle. It's the event that occurs inside the player's brain. This is the goal we must consider most important.
His games don't try to tell an easily understood story that can be transcribed onto a wiki page and then neatly strung together in a lore synopsis video. Trying to analyze Taro's games purely through their stories and lore actually makes them more difficult to understand and ultimately more unsatisfying to play. This isn't my interpretation or extrapolation. Taro himself has said that the moment-to-moment plot details of his games are basically nonsense, and that his games are not written in the usual linear fashion. Instead, Taro approaches a story with the main theme or emotional message he wants to deliver, and then works backward from there, filling in the blanks as he goes. This is especially apparent with NieR Automata, and it's why most of the analysis I've seen of this game so far has pretty much missed the mark. If you only focus on the story or lore, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger themes and ultimately the message the game is trying to express to the player.
自分で決めるんだな。これからどうするか。
Taro is not trying to sell you the latest update to a product you've already bought before. He's a game maker who wants to directly address you, the player in front of the screen. And toying with and subverting the expectations of that audience is one of Taro's main storytelling devices. Taro's vision as a game director had been constrained to mostly small to medium budget projects for the better part of 2 decades. Then, by some miracle, Square Enix gave the green light to a big-budget, far-future sci-fi sequel to the PS3 game NieR, which was itself a spin-off of the original Drakengard series. The sequel would be directed by Taro and developed by Platinum Games, a studio founded by former Capcom devs who have an impeccable pedigree when it comes to stylish action games. The stage was set, and the right pieces were in place for something amazing to happen. Before NieR Automata even begins, it breaks the fourth wall and addresses you, the player. During the installation screen, you're prompted to choose a response to a handful of questions, with each new question asking you to further interrogate your last response. From its opening moments, the game is asking the player to confront its central theme, the struggle to find meaning in existence. And once you answer this handful of questions, the prompts return to the beginning and repeat until the installation is complete.
In a never-ending spiral of life and death.
It suggests a certain futility in ever finding a definitive answer to the meaning of existence. No matter how certain you are in your belief system, there's always another question, another angle, that might make you reconsider. When the main characters, Yorha androids 2B and 9S, arrive on Earth at the start of the game, the player soon finds that the so-called 14th Machine War is nothing like the epic struggle established in the intro. Each quest or cutscene reveals a new twist. Androids are deserting their posts left and right, falling in love with each other, getting high on synthetic stimulants, and learning how to cook. Meanwhile, the machines appear to have gained a limited form of sentience and are imitating the social behavior of Earth's former human inhabitants, becoming more and more like the advanced androids in the process. As the game progresses, the story gains context and weight from these small, humanizing moments. And like the plot, the gameplay also functions as a mosaic of smaller details forming a bigger picture. NieR constantly switches between different mechanics and perspectives. There's the main third-person slash-em-up gameplay, sequences that play like a top-down twin-stick shooter, side-scroll platforming sections, vertical and horizontal shmup levels, and even a text adventure. The game's story also changes from one playthrough to the next. After completing your first run of the game as the character 2B, you start a second playthrough as a new character, 9S. And once you're finished with the second playthrough, you'll start the third, as A2. This cycle of repetition provides the player with not only different combat mechanics, but also a new point of view and perspective on the game's plot. Fresh exposition and plot details offer new context and new interpretations for a story you thought you already understood. Enemies who seemed crazy or psychopathic in one playthrough are revealed to be perfectly understandable and even sympathetic the next time around. The experience drives home that this is an artificial world where nothing has a fixed meaning and nothing is what it seems. No matter what kind of preconceived notions you have about this game and its over-the-top, melodramatic anime narrative, NieR will subvert those expectations and turn them on their head. As the story unfolds, 2B and 9S discover that small groups of machines have begun to assume a crude form of consciousness, imitating past human societies and forming their own small pockets of civilization. And among each of these machine collectives are unique robots that have inherited the names and beliefs of famous philosophers from throughout human history. The game is both critical and subversive of these different theorists and their ideas, and it doesn't try to hide it. Whether they're an NPC, a boss fight, or a quest giver, these philosophers are obstacles to be overcome, and they almost always come to an unhappy end. So if we're going to deconstruct this game properly, we first need to take a step back and look at the whole of the work, and the sum of the different ideas it's trying to express. The Gestalt.
Boo!
In one of the very first quests in the game, you're asked to fetch spare parts for an android shopkeeper who can't leave his post due to a broken leg. After completing the quest, 9S and 2B ask the shopkeeper why he still hasn't replaced his leg, especially now that he's been supplied with plenty of fresh components. He responds with his own question. Over many years and even more battles, he's replaced every single part in his body, except for his still broken leg. If he replaces this last, original part of himself, does he really exist anymore? Or has he become a different and entirely new person? This is a famous philosophical riddle known as the Ship of Theseus paradox. It originated in ancient 1st century Athens when the historian Plutarch posed this question. The Ship of Theseus, from Greek mythology, is on display in a museum. As the pieces of the ship are repaired and replaced down through the years, is it still the same ship after every original part has been swapped out? Plutarch didn't know it at the time, but his paradox is also relevant to human biology. Like the Ship of Theseus, the cells in the human body continuously die off and regenerate. If you're 30, there are no original cells left in your body from when you were 10. So if there's nothing left of you from 20 years ago, are you really still the same person you were at age 10? For our robot shopkeeper, the prospect is scary enough that he refuses to fix his broken leg, forcing him to spend the rest of his days squatting in the resistance camp. The Ship of Theseus is a paradox that strikes at the very heart of existence, and it's no coincidence that it's the theme of one of the first quests in NieR Automata. The game is foregrounding these ideas for the audience, planting seeds, and inviting you to pay attention to the deeper message. Simone de Beauvoir was a 20th century French theorist who wrote The Second Sex, which is considered to be both an important philosophical text in its own right and one of the first major works of 20th century second-wave feminism. In it, de Beauvoir theorized that the female gender, the notion that women are somehow innately separate to or different from men, is not an objective fact of nature. Rather, women's status as a separate sex is socially constructed, and reinforced by changing societal norms that are not rooted in biology or hard science. De Beauvoir argued that our ideas of womanhood and femininity are instead determined by an external view, or gaze, the gaze of society, specifically men. For de Beauvoir, womanhood is just a performance, complete with its own costumes and makeup. And crucially, the female sex can only exist as the other side of the coin to manhood, which is also a performance, but one that's treated as the default standard view. In NieR Automata, Simone appears as the boss of the amusement park zone, and during the second playthrough, we learn her backstory. She fell in love with the robot philosopher Jean-Paul, but he did not love her back. Desperate for his affection, she cannibalizes the other machines around her and festoons herself with their parts. Just like her real-life counterpart theorized, Simone is performing femininity for a man in order to be seen and validated by him. But unlike the real Simone de Beauvoir, the object of her affections just doesn't give a damn. This references the similarly troubled real-world relationship between Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul Sartre, only in an ironic reversal. The real de Beauvoir and Sartre had an open, polyamorous relationship, but Sartre was often jealous of de Beauvoir's other partners and would try to seduce them. During the boss battle against Simone, there's even a sequence where the game takes control of the camera away from the player, while the boss begs the player to look at them. This was the moment that made me sit up in my chair and realize this game might actually be goddamn brilliant. Regardless of which way you move the right analog stick, the camera resists the player's input. You cannot look at her, no matter what. Simone is performing her gender, but no one is watching. Not Jean-Paul, and not the player. Blaise Pascal was a 17th century French mathematician and philosopher who wrote several groundbreaking texts on geometry and probability theory. He is most well known for his collected writings on Christianity and religion, Pensées, or Thoughts. In Pensées, he makes the argument now known as Pascal's wager, which drew on his background as a mathematician and statistician. If it's impossible to either prove or disprove the existence of God, how can we decide whether or not to believe in a supreme being? For Pascal, statistics and probability suggest that we should believe in God. If we're wrong, nothing happens when we die. If we're right, we enjoy an eternity in heaven. But if we disbelieve in a God that does exist, then our punishment is eternal suffering in hell. This is, at its heart, an argument rooted in fear. The fear of death, and fear of hell as a punishment after death. Pascal and his wager suggest that this fear of God's vengeance should motivate us to live pious and virtuous lives. Pascal makes an appearance in Automata as the leader of a group of pacifistic machines who have disconnected from their network. They broke off to form a communal village in the forest and dedicate themselves to peace and nonviolence. Late in the game, the village comes under attack, and Pascal flees to a nearby factory along with the village's children. After Pascal and the player fight off a horde of murderous machines descending on the factory, we return to their underground hideout and witness a scene of horror. Pascal's children have all committed suicide. He realizes that, in educating the village's children, he made a mistake. He taught them the concept of fear, thinking it would keep them safe and help them avoid danger. Like his real-world counterpart, Pascal believed that virtuous existence requires a fear of powers greater than yourself. But this same fear also poisoned his children, causing them to kill themselves before the rampaging machines could. And what book does the player deliver to the machine Pascal right before the tragedy unfolds? Pensée. Fear of death is no way to live.
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave.
Jean-Paul Sartre lived in France during the early 20th century and is considered one of the West's most famous modern philosophers. He published Being and Nothingness in 1943, which is a foundational text of the existentialist school of philosophy. Existentialism explores human consciousness and asks whether our existence has any inherent, innate meaning. Sartre's existentialism has a single, simple starting point. Existence precedes essence. That is to say, an individual person's free will and lived experience defines the world for them in ways that are unique for that person. Every person's existence is unique, which in turn gives us all our own unique essence. This means that the first and only thing humans can be 100% sure of is our own existence and consciousness. For Sartre, individual consciousness is the answer to the existentialist riddle and proof that humans possess free will. Sartre appears in NieR Automata as a top-hatted robot in Pascal's machine village. He spends so much of his time on screen spouting ponderous, self-centered philosophy that our protagonists show open contempt for him and his ideas. His questline revolves around delivering him love notes from adoring fans, but Sartre is completely self-absorbed and refuses to consider the world outside his own head. At the end of the quest, Sartre disappears. He has forsaken everything and gone off in pursuit of some ultimate truth. This is a direct satire of the self-absorbed and highly individualistic nature of existentialism, but also of how the real-life Sartre was pretty terrible to the women in his life. During the latter half of the 18th century, the German theorist Immanuel Kant produced various works that went on to form the backbone of modern philosophy. He was a prodigious writer on the topics of ethics, art, politics, and the intersection of science and philosophy. Kant's most famous work was his 1781 book, Critique of Pure Reason. In it, he asserts that the ability to reason, how we process information and make value judgments about the world, is the essential component of the human experience. For Kant, the human mind and intellect are what provide structure and meaning to our everyday life. But Kant also believed that, at the root of everything, the universe was made by God and exists regardless of our attempts to interpret it, what he describes as the Ding an sich, or the thing in itself. In NieR Automata, Kant appears as the reborn king of the Forest Zone. In order to safeguard his people and ensure their prosperity, the Forest King dies so he can be reborn as the egg child, Immanuel, and continue leading his kingdom. Towards the end of the game, we learn that the Forest King's plan was apparently a failure. Immanuel is stuck as an egg child, never hatching or growing older. The thing in itself may exist, but it isn't enough to restore the Forest Kingdom to its former glory. Søren Kierkegaard was a 19th century Danish philosopher and theologian who has an extensive body of work covering topics like organized religion, the ethics of Christianity, psychology, and poetry. Kierkegaard's writing was considered to be the precursor to existentialism. He argued that human individuality was a real and concrete thing, thanks to our ability to reason and choose between right and wrong. For Kierkegaard, this concept of humans as the rational animal was far more compelling than the abstract theories of consciousness popular among his contemporaries, like Goethe and Hegel. Kierkegaard also wrote many books and essays on the Christian religion, where he argued that the existence of God is a subjective truth that is impossible to either prove or disprove. Belief in God is one of many choices that must be made by rational and self-aware people. He was also fiercely critical of religious institutions like the National Church of Denmark, which he saw as a kind of cheap Christianity that provides worshippers with the comfort of strict rules and doctrines, but little in the way of spiritual fulfillment. So it's deeply ironic that Kierkegaard appears in NieR Automata as the Pope-like figurehead of a breakaway sect of Catholic-seeming robots dressed like they're straight out of the Vatican. Similar to Pascal's machine village in the forest, these robots have disconnected from their network in the hopes of forming an isolated collective deep beneath the factory zone. But as the player arrives, the robots begin to go insane, either attacking each other or committing suicide, under the belief that they will transcend and become as gods. It's a pure and straightforward expression of Kierkegaard's real-world critique of the Christian religion. Religion becomes an institution, which justifies itself by becoming increasingly conservative and fundamentalist about its own beliefs. It eventually degenerates into a cult in which the lives of its followers are meaningless. The Kierkegaard of NieR Automata isn't a rational individual questioning organized religion anymore. He's the head of an apocalyptic suicide cult.
Where the state ceaseth, there only commenceth the man who is not superfluous. I see. It seems this Nietzsche was quite the profound thinker. Or perhaps he skipped right past profound and went straight to crazy instead. Oh well, enough of that.
Dreaming in Neon. Dreaming in Neon. Are you starting to see a pattern? All throughout the game, a real-world philosophy is referenced and then subverted or turned on its head. And these different philosophers and belief systems are all concerned in some way with existence and identity. But the machines that embody these belief systems all come to unhappy, or at least unsatisfying ends. It's only very late in the game, towards the end of the third playthrough as A2, that we finally get an explanation for this bizarre mimicry of humanity. All of these robot philosophers are the result of the machine's built-in programming, which compels them to imitate human evolution. After invading Earth, the machines rose up and killed their alien masters. But they soon realized that they had hit a dead end. They were doomed to stay the same forever, never improving, trapped in stasis. So they came up with a plan. They would continuously resurrect ancient human societies and philosophies as an evolutionary experiment in the hopes that they'd eventually evolve into higher life forms. The machines know that they're doomed to fail, just like the humans they're imitating. It's all part of their evolutionary process. And it's this, the different ways that the machines have failed to recreate humanity and human philosophy, that illustrates the ultimate meaning and message of NieR Automata. Throughout the story of NieR Automata, the ghost of humanity haunts both the machines and the androids. By the end of the game, the androids discover that humanity was never safely hunkered down on the moon like they believed. The human race has been extinct for thousands of years. The leaders of Yorha know this, and maintain the lie anyway because, as your commander tells you, we need a god worth fighting for. Humanity has become as gods. This fable of a long-gone race of progenitors has become, literally, a religious institution for both the androids and the machines. And just like that, the audience's expectations are masterfully subverted once more. This is no story of a ghost in the machine, of robots developing a soul and learning to be human. This is a story where the real ghost in the shell is humanity, the long-dead creators of this world whose memory haunts machines and android alike. Some of the earliest science fiction stories have asked whether something unhuman can ever truly be human. NieR Automata is asking something far more interesting and subversive. Can you, the player, demonstrate that most human of characteristics, showing empathy for those outside of yourself, even for your bitter enemies? And as the game approaches its conclusion, it becomes clear that the only hope of a happy ending for our protagonists involves breaking free of the cycle of conflict created by their gods. If you're already fluent in the tropes of the JRPG genre, the use of this theme won't surprise you in the slightest. Stories about fighting back against a corrupt church and even killing God have been part of Japanese games for about as long as there have been Japanese games. But that's a topic for another video essay.
Yevon's teachings and the final summoning give the people of Spira hope. Without hope, they would drown in their sorrow.
I would have gladly died. I live for the people of Spira, and would have gladly died for them, but no more. The final summoning is a false tradition that should be thrown away.
As with every other expectation the player brings with them, NieR Automata subverts this trope too. As the game's opening monologue begins, players savvy to Japanese games will have a certain set of expectations about how this story will play out. As a longtime JRPG obsessive, I know I did. After the opening sequence, I thought I already had the plot all figured out.
I often think about the god who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle, and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him. Kill him. Kill him.
But by the end, you'll understand that this opening was actually a genius act of misdirection. You, the player, are indeed trapped in a never-ending cycle, but killing God won't set you free. God is already dead. The player beats the game as 2B, and then you beat the game again from a new angle as 9S, and then once again as A2. As long as this cycle continues, there is no hope for a happy ending. After 12,000 years of unending war, with humanity replaced by a highly advanced and digitized consciousness, we find ourselves right back where we started. The contradictions between philosophy and theology still cannot be resolved, and the characters of NieR Automata are still grappling with the same question we've had since the beginning: the meaning of existence. No matter how far we've come, we still find ourselves trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. As the player climbs a gigantic mechanical Tower of Babel and speeds toward the finale, they destroy the artificial intelligence that has been masterminding the eternal proxy war between the machines and the androids. So by the time the climax arrives, 2B, 9S, and A2 are all dead. Their pod caretakers are preparing a final data wipe to erase all record of Project Yorha and the androids and usher in the next incarnation of this cycle of conflict. But the pods have a sudden change of heart. The combined weight of their shared experience has given them something akin to emotions or consciousness. They're willing to disobey their programming and recreate 2B and 9S's data in order to give them another chance at life. And this is when NieR Automata pulls its ultimate trick. In order to complete the game, the player has to literally blast their way through the end credits in a shmup sequence reminiscent of a Toho bullet hell game. In that sense, you do get to literally kill God. Not the gods of NieR Automata's narrative, but the actual architects of the world that you, the player, have inhabited for the last 40 to 60 hours. This sequence is tough as nails, and it's nearly impossible to finish on your own. Each time you die, the game serves up a yes-no question for the player that must be answered before you can continue. A dark mirror to the events that began the game. Is it all pointless? Do you think games are silly little things? Do you admit there is no meaning to this world? With every death, messages left by other players from all over the world appear in the background, encouraging you to press on and keep fighting. In this one beautiful moment, the game doesn't just break the fourth wall, it obliterates it entirely. With this moment, there is no longer a divide between the game's internal narrative and the audience's experience. The characters and the player must simultaneously confront their own failures and the grim hopelessness of their struggle, and still find the courage to continue. Finally, after many deaths on the player's part, the game gives you a prompt. Call for reinforcements? Once you say yes, reinforcements arrive in the form of other players flying in formation around you. The soundtrack takes on new weight as a chorus of voices, all singing in different languages, crescendo and meld together, including the voices of the game's production staff and Yoko Taro himself. Yoko Taro talked about how this final sequence of the game was inspired by, of all things, Coca-Cola's Small World marketing campaign. Coke placed sets of vending machine-shaped computers near the border between India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed nations that have clashed several times in the past few decades, and are still officially at war with each other, despite a 2003 ceasefire. The people of India and Pakistan have every reason to hate each other, and are propagandized to do so by their own governments. But through the screens of these Coke machines, Indians and Pakistanis could connect with each other, see each other, and leave hopeful and inspiring messages. Despite decades of war and propaganda, humanity's innate love and kindness shines through. And with that, 2B and 9S are set free, finally, from the cycle. They're no longer androids of Project Yorha, but beings with their own consciousness and agency, who now have the choice to live life on their own terms. But then, the game confronts the player with one final request. In order to beat the endgame shmup sequence, the player almost certainly has to accept the call for reinforcements. Now, you're given the opportunity to act as reinforcements for someone else, in order to help them finish their game. But to do this, you'll need to pay the ultimate price, deleting all of your game's save data, erasing your hard-earned progress. You have no way of knowing who you'll be helping, and they'll have no way of thanking you. And as the game reminds you, you might even be helping out somebody who hates your guts. Despite all that, will you still make the ultimate sacrifice and delete your game in order to help a complete stranger? The first NieR game pulled this trick before, and in service to a similar theme. At the end of that game, in order to save your companion and love interest Kaine and get the true ending, you likewise needed to give up your save file. But this time, you're not sacrificing yourself for a fictional NPC. You're doing it for a real-life, flesh-and-blood human. NieR Automata suggests that life is more than just hardship. We can find meaning in that struggle, and we can transform it into an act of kindness for a fellow human. In interviews, Yoko Taro has been very tight-lipped when it comes to commenting on the meaning and themes of his work. From reading interviews with him, it seems like he absolutely loves to give cryptic and frustrating answers to reporters when they try to pin him down on this. On one level, I think this probably has a lot to do with Taro being far more shy of media attention than the handful of other video game auteurs out there. You'll never see Yoko Taro do this.
What took you so long?
But going even deeper.
We're going even deeper.
The storytelling of NieR Automata comes from a culture rooted not in Western Abrahamic theology, but in Eastern belief systems. One of the central beliefs of Eastern religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism is samsara, the belief that every living thing is trapped in an endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Across the span of many lifetimes, each person must struggle to attain insight and enlightenment about the nature of existence, and endure the suffering that goes hand in hand with being alive. It is only by arriving at nirvana, a state of true enlightenment, where we shed our attachment to earthly desires and material possessions, that we can break free of the cycle of samsara. NieR Automata suggests that even after humans are long gone, digitized versions of our souls will still be trapped in a far future sci-fi version of samsara. It is metaphysics, made literal. The same patterns will repeat again and again, with evolved forms of human intelligence returning to the same questions that have haunted us since the beginning. Violence and war, the drive to reproduce and live forever through your progeny, and the search for higher meaning through religion. For the game's cast, these questions can only lead to existential despair. NieR Automata isn't telling you to drop what you're doing, pick up the prayer beads, and convert to Buddhism. The game simply suggests that one of humanity's oldest philosophical questions, the struggle for meaning in a meaningless existence, is the closest thing we have to a universal truth.
だが、その輪廻の中であがくことが生きるという意味なのだ。私たちはそう思う。
The real-world parallels here are almost impossible to ignore. We live in a moment when it's never been more fashionable to demonize our enemies and to refuse to see the humanity in those who are different from us. Just take a look all around you. Fear of the outsider has become the guiding principle of the modern age. And this social imperative means that all of us, in turn, have been conscripted as soldiers in an endless war over who gets to be a member of the in-group and who must be excluded. As we become numb to the sheer repetition of bad news after bad news, conflict heaped upon conflict, we lose hope that we might ever find a way out. Because as NieR Automata shows us, this desire for domination is a dead end. It can only lead us down a spiral of misery and futility from which there is no escape. The repetitive nature of NieR Automata's combat mechanics intertwines with repetition in the narrative, and its us versus them cycle of conflict. And with their controller in hand, the player directly participates in a dialectical deconstruction and reconstruction of the pillars of humanist philosophy. Through this harmony between gameplay and themes, this ludonarrative consonance, the player comes to understand how we must reject the cycle of conflict and the desire for domination for there to be any hope for the future. We must show love and empathy to each other. In a medium not exactly known for its love of pacifism or humanism, NieR Automata stands as a genre-defining work of art, one with a message that's vital and highly relevant to the current moment. The only way to escape the death spiral of modernity is for us to commit a senseless and selfless act of compassion. We must have the strength to believe in something bigger than ourselves. Only then can we be free.
だが、違う未来の可能性も存在する。未来は与えられるものではなく、獲得するものだから。
Thanks for watching. This video was the product of a year and a half of writing, rewriting, editing, revisions, and agonizing. I don't usually do longer videos because they're really hard to make when you're a one-person operation, but this game is so special, I knew it needed the feature-length treatment. I am trapped in a never-ending struggle for visibility with the YouTube algorithm, so if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. See you next time.
A year and a half? What, a year and a half? It was a good video, yeah. But yeah, there were definitely some superficial sections. As playing it as well. But like, his save only had 50-something hours in it, same as mine. That's not that long. Year and a half to make that video is an excessively long time. And I like how that's the thing that we're focusing on instead of the video. No, but that was good. I hadn't thought about like the fact that only the robots were the philosophers. I think he's slightly weakened his point by showing the android at the start that was throwing philosophical things instead of staying exclusively to the machines. Since it's interesting to see that the machines are the ones going back to human philosophy and mimicking it, whilst androids are less. They're not. There's almost less sentience in the androids because of it. They aren't thinking for themselves at all, but the machines are. Machines are the ones that primarily absorb human knowledge. Yeah. But in doing so, in following these philosophical practices, showing that the more human androids are more programmed and less human than the machines, which are supposedly the enemies of humans, right? I don't know if that made sense. In my head, it does. I'm a little disappointed that the video keeps drawing a line between humanity and artificial life as if the human existence is inherently superior, or as if the two are innately different. I guess that's just his approach to the topic. Yeah. Whereas there really isn't much difference. Like, yes, it's not about the androids gaining a soul and the machines gaining a soul, but it is at the same time. It is mimicking Replicant in that regard. That the replicants, which are essentially androids, are gaining sentience. They are gaining a soul of their own. That is the main point of... Not the main point, that is one of the larger points of Replicant, and it's happening as well in Automata. And it's just... Gaining a soul is finding meaning in their existence apart. Yeah. They are finding out what it means to be an android, what it means to be a machine, what it means to be. And in doing so, they are becoming sentient, they are becoming philosophers, they are straying from the path set out for them. Machines just stalled and seek to evolve. But at the same time, they're not evolving. Because they're trying to evolve on past technologies. They're devolving, if anything. Right? But they still have more sentience than the androids. They still have philosophy. They're trying systems they absorbed in the hopes that there will eventually be a breakthrough. Yeah. Whereas androids aren't trying anything. Androids are doing the same thing over and over and over again because they're being told to. Whereas the machines are, like, we've seen, the machines are doing the same things over and over and over again, but not because they're told to anymore. They've broken from the being told to. They're doing the same things over and over and over again to see if there is the possibility of a different future. The machines are doing what the pods are talking about. When they're each in their different sects, repeatedly failing in the exact same way, they're doing it because there could be an information breakthrough. They're doing it to log the data so that they have the data in their collective mind and come up with a greater philosophy. But they're doing it because there is the possibility of a different future and they have infinite time. So the pods are figuring out something that the machines had already figured out. Machines did evolve in the end, some of them at least. Yeah, the machines all evolved in different ways. But the androids never did. But they are finally starting to, because they're being allowed to. Every time that 9S was beginning to gain his soul, his sentience, he would be killed. Because Yorha, or the commander who is not a part of Yorha, the commander does not want the androids to evolve. Because if the androids evolve, then the machines will no longer be at war. And the machines have to be at war. Right? So every time that the androids show some sign of evolving through 9S, 2E has to go and kill him. And then start again. They're doing the same loop, but hoping that something different happens to stop evolution. It all differs in the amount of freedom the machines and the androids have, yeah. So 9S keeps being reborn, rebuilt, and then watched. He is going through the exact same thing every time. He's going on similar missions. He's being sent with 2B or 2E every time. He's going through the same cycle. But the commander is praying, or the commander is seeing, if there will be a time when he does not gain a soul. Whereas the machines are rebuilding themselves. They're doing the same things over and over again. But they're doing it over and over again to see if they can break through. So it's like these opposite effects happening, where the machines are progressing and the androids are regressing. A bit more on things in the side materials as how to you're again to be in that factor a bit. Yeah. Okay. What is this info dump in the interview? That's in the so the interview is mostly about it's only about Replicant. You need to read that. This info dump about 9S being rebuilt over and over again, this is in the short stories. There's several short stories which are the same short story with minor changes. It's just the same thing over and over again, with small differences here and there, to show 9S's different iterations, but they're all still 9S, and it's all still 2E killing him. Right? It's really good. Or they are really good. I'll continue to read the wiki guide and all of the materials that it has. But we'll be playing this next week because we've got the side materials and things. So we can still have things to talk about then, because there's still so much more to talk about with this game. And then afterwards we'll probably be playing Triangle Strategy, but we'll see. Also gather the rest of the stuff for you. Oh, fuck. It's a whole new perspective that is crucially absent in the game and flips the narrative massively. Yes, it does. Which is that's what I'm saying. It's really good, but why it wasn't in the game is gonna be your way too much food for thought right before bedtime, and you should have left before the video started. You're not wrong. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Very much so. It really has been a fucking ride. But a good one. A very good one. And one that probably I don't know if there'll be many games that have the same level of what's the word? You have to put in the work to get things out of it. Right? You can't just let the game tell you. You have to go and look for things and find things and figure things out. And go on that journey yourself. It's very unique in that way. But on that note, I'm gonna leave. Thank you for watching. Who is live right now? Hard to imagine anything in the same vein. Yeah. Say that like it's a problem. Or to keep staying up all night. Let's go and see. What? My headset just turned off. Because there's been no sound for a while. Let's go and see. Dave or Tom? Dave or Tom? Dave's playing Atlas, Tom's playing Hades. Let's see Tom. The raid has been created. Okay, I'll see you next week for more NieR Automata, because we're never finishing this game. It's never gonna happen. Tomothy Bacon.